Hey, so a little update on my ADHD battle, or ADD, as I like to call it for short. No offense to those with the H, which I may or may not have. The hyperactivity part, a lot of people would probably say I have it. I definitely have trouble sitting in one place for a long time. So I guess that qualifies, but I wouldn't call myself necessarily hyperactive. I get up a lot. And then when I do, I procrastinate sitting back down. Anyway, so I went on Adderall. Now it's probably been 4 months ago. It was a 7-week experiment because I ran out of pills a week early in my second month because I was taking 2 here and there. Reminder, my favorite meme says, "Oh, there's a pill that'll cure addiction. I wonder what 2 of them will do." And it's true. I always was just worried. It was sort of like why I gave it up, very similar as alcohol. I was using it to do hard things. I was waiting to take it. It was extended release, but it still hits pretty quickly. I wasn't taking it just first thing in the morning. I was waiting. And then I was paranoid that I was going to run out. So then when I had to do a really hard thing on some nights later in the day, like an open mic night, I would take a second one. I don't even think it really made a difference because I think my body already caught on to the fact that I was using artificial dopamine again, and it was shutting down those receptors and transporting the dopamine out of my system. But what's funny is for the week or two after I quit, especially even into the second week, I still kind of had somewhat of a focus, including hand-eye coordination when I played pickleball. So I said, oh my God, maybe I already retrained my brain in that short amount of time. But no, after 2 weeks, I was back to my usual self, no hand-eye coordination, and really no work ethic, which is how I describe it. I say it's very misunderstood. You know, we're not just defocused. In fact, sometimes we hyper-focus on things other people wouldn't. Sounds in the background, things like that. But it's just your brain will not let you focus or work on what you really need to. And I'm learning more and more about this. I'm going to beat this thing the same way I did with alcoholism by becoming an expert on it. And, you know, it turns out our brains, we choose the least important task first. And not because we're lazy, but because the conditions and elements allow for it. It's actually called the law of least effect. It's because we have the clarity, the time, and a conducive location, all of which facilitate performance. So we avoid or skip over tasks, even ones deemed important, because it's missing these elements. And I think some perfectionism ties into that as well. I mean, I just got this new timer, ADD timer. I have to show you. But at first, I was a little intimidated by it because it's not like a digital timer. You just plug in the time you need and then it goes off and you reset, etc. And I just was frustrated and I was waiting till the perfect time to figure it out. And so it just sat for a week. And I finally picked it up today and it took me no time to figure it out at all. But do that with so many things. And it turns out there's actually a chemical reason. We lack dopamine naturally, which is what encourages us to pursue completing tasks. And we also lack norepinephrine, which is what creates a sense of urgency. They say it's the get up and go neurotransmitter. So our levels of both of those is totally out of whack. Now, I have become a dopamine fiend through cold showers and sharing and the like. So I've got a pretty good amount of dopamine flowing, but I've always got to keep it flowing. There's even a theory now that possibly in those with ADD, our dopamine dissipates from our system quicker. It actually lend to that whole take 2 pills theory. So these are the things I'm working through. I finally realized how much this is like drinking, that I couldn't do it alone. You know, I tried to do it with medication. That didn't work. Can't do it alone. So I hired an ADD coach for pretty good money. And he's got a system because he says it's not about discipline. It's about having the right systems in place. Just like with alcohol, it's not about willpower. It's about doing the work. And I've been now doing the work. It includes a weekly coaching appointment. He treats me like a child, teaching me how to use my calendar. You know, my mother always said, just write your goals, write your to-do list, and put them in your calendar. Or people said, calendar off your time. That never worked for me, and I'm still struggling with it, but they're really getting me to buy into it. I actually get on a shared call and share my calendar with the guy, and we fill out my calendar, you know, and I write put tasks. It's all about using the Google Calendar. We can also put tasks that you can then drag into your calendar. If you don't complete them, you can drag them to another time. When you finish them off, you cross them off, which gives you a little dopamine kick. And there's a bunch of other things. One of the big hints, exclusive I'll give you, he gave us, only have your calendar on the home page of your phone. Do not have any distracting apps. That might sound so simple, but I'd never thought of doing that. So I have removed those. I still keep a few other things on my home page, but like Waze and my voice memo thing. But for the most part, that's it. And that's really helpful. And don't just move the distracting apps to the next screen. Move them 3 or 4 screens over. So it's really an effort to get to them. And there's also an app called Opal that'll block apps during certain hours of the day. So, and the big ones are clean environment. I'm really making it, a priority. He talks about you need a morning and a night routine. Morning routine is cleaning my environment, getting ready to go, getting my Rocky soundtrack all ready. And then the big one at night is winding down, including, writing your goals for the next day, putting them in your calendar, and then ideally trying to stick to the calendar, which I'm still struggling with. And then the last thing I learned with is it includes being access to a community. So now, just like with drinking, I'm hearing people tell my stories through their words and becoming accountability partners with them as well, which has really helped. So much more to tell, but that'll be my start. This can be beat by doing the work, which is, I want to spread the word. Even the parents, they say children diagnosed with this, they just put them on Ritalin or Adderall. But it can be overcome by doing the work. And just like with the drinking, that's where the discipline comes in, is doing the work. And that's what I'm working on now. Got my coaching call tomorrow, so I got to get cracking. So that'll do it. As always, stronger, sober. Please like, share, subscribe. Thanks.